In the world of the ultra-rich, there are dynasties, and then there are the Agnellis. For over a century, they've been Italy's uncrowned royalty, a family with so much power, it was said that what was good for their company, Fiat, was good for Italy itself. They built an industrial empire that's just staggering, controlling brands from Ferrari to Stellantis. But this isn't a story about how they built their empire. This is the story of how it almost got destroyed. And not by a market crash or some corporate rival, but by a cascade of tragedy, betrayal, and a bitter family war that exploded from the inside. It's a battle that pits mother against son, and brother against brother, all for the soul of a dynasty. And it all traces back to a series of catastrophic events that no amount of money could ever prevent. All right, at the center of this whole saga is one man, Gianni Agnelli. Everyone knew him as L'Avvocato, the lawyer. But he was more than a businessman. He was a total icon, charismatic, incredibly stylish, and absolutely ruthless in the boardroom. Gianni was the one who turned Fiat into a global behemoth. At the empire's peak, it was estimated that Agnelli's assets made up roughly 4% of Italy's entire GDP. He was the most powerful man in the country, basically a king in a republic. But for all his power, Gianni was haunted by a darkness that seemed to follow his family line, a pattern of tragic, early deaths that some people whispered was a curse. And that curse hit him early. In 1935, when Gianni was just 14, his father, Edoardo, died in a horrific accident when he walked into the propeller of his own seaplane. Just a decade later, in 1945, tragedy struck again when his mother, Princess Virginia Bourbon del Monte, was killed in a car crash. Gianni, now 24, had lost both his parents, leaving him to inherit the weight of a dynasty. These events would forever shape how he saw power, how fragile it could be, and he became obsessed with building an empire that could outlast the fickle nature of life and death. So, to protect his legacy from the chaos that had marked his youth, Gianni and his advisors spent decades building this fortress of corporate governance. It was a complex structure of holding companies, all designed to function like an institution, not some volatile family clan. At the heart of it all was the investment firm Exor, with a private entity known as December acting as the ultimate safe, consolidating control within a chosen branch of the family. The goal was to create a clear, unbreakable line of succession, a system that would be immune to personal feelings and family drama. And for a while, the plan seemed perfect. Gianni's chosen heir wasn't his own son, but his brilliant and beloved nephew, Giovanni Alberto Agnelli, known as Giovannino. He was the son of Gianni's brother, handsome, universally admired, and was being carefully groomed to lead the family empire into the 21st century. He was the designated future, but in 1997, the family curse came back with a vengeance. At just 33 years old, Giovannino was diagnosed with a rare and aggressive form of intestinal cancer. He died the same year, shattering Gianni's carefully laid plans and throwing the family right back into uncertainty. The fortress had been breached, and the patriarch was devastated. But the worst was still to come. With Giovannino gone, the line of succession was in tatters. Gianni's only son, also named Edoardo, was never a real candidate to lead. He was a deeply troubled and sensitive man who struggled with drug addiction and had a difficult relationship with his powerful father. Edoardo had no interest in the world of cars and finance. He was drawn to mysticism and philosophy, things his father saw as unforgivable weaknesses. He was the heir who could never inherit. In November 2000, just 3 years after Giovannino's death, the family was dealt its most public and painful blow. Edoardo Agnelli, wearing only his pajamas, drove his Fiat Croma to a viaduct on the Turin-Savona highway. He climbed over the railing and jumped 80 meters to his death. The official ruling was suicide. For Gianni, it was the ultimate tragedy. The loss of his nephew had broken his succession plan. The loss of his only son broke his spirit. His health rapidly declined, and in 2003, Gianni Agnelli died of prostate cancer. His funeral was like that of a head of state, but behind all the public mourning, a power vacuum was forming, and a war was about to begin. With Gianni and his 2 potential heirs gone, the future of the empire fell to his grandson, John Elkann. A quiet, serious young man, John was the son of Gianni's daughter, Margherita. In the chaotic years after the family tragedies, Gianni had started grooming John to take the reins, a responsibility he officially inherited when his grandfather died. The company was in serious trouble, but John proved to be a shrewd and capable leader. He pulled off a spectacular turnaround, merging Fiat with Chrysler to create a global automotive giant and steering the family holding company, Exor, to unprecedented heights. The empire was saved, but to secure his control, a painful family deal was made. In 2004, John's mother, Margherita Agnelli, signed an agreement. In exchange for a payout of around 1.2 billion euros, she sold her stake in the family's core holding company, Decembri, and gave up any future claims on her mother's estate. In doing so, she handed complete control of the dynasty to her 3 children from her first marriage, John, and his more flamboyant brothers, Lapo and Ginevra. At the time, it seemed like a pragmatic, if brutal, solution. But it was a deal Margherita would come to bitterly regret, and it sowed the seeds of a rebellion that would soon threaten to tear the entire family apart. For nearly 2 decades, the settlement held, but under the surface, Margherita's resentment was simmering. She felt she had been cheated and, more importantly, that her 5 children from her second marriage had been unfairly cut out of the Agnelli dynasty. The peace finally shattered when she launched an all-out legal war against her own son, John. Her legal battle centers on a stunning claim that she was tricked into the 2004 agreement because she didn't know the true extent of her father's fortune, which she alleges was hidden in offshore accounts. But the most explosive part of her case came out in late 2025. Margherita's lawyers produced a document they claim is a previously unpublished, handwritten will from Gianni Agnelli, dated 1998. According to this alleged document, Gianni planned to leave his main stake in the Decembri holding company not to his grandson John, but to his son Edoardo. And if Edoardo couldn't inherit, the stake was supposed to pass to his legitimate heirs, which would mean his sister, Margherita. If this will is proven to be authentic, it could radically rewrite history. It could invalidate the very foundation of John Elkann's control, potentially giving his mother a majority stake in the company at the heart of the empire and dethroning the king she believes stole her birthright. As Margherita wages her war in the courtroom, John Elkann is fighting on multiple fronts. The battle with his mother has triggered a firestorm of legal troubles, most notably a criminal investigation by prosecutors in Turin. The probe is focused on allegations of tax fraud, related to the inheritance of his grandmother, Morella Caracciolo, who died in 2019. Prosecutors allege that the family falsely claimed she was a resident of Switzerland to avoid paying hundreds of millions in Italian inheritance taxes, and that a criminal plan was put in place to hide assets. The investigation led to police raids on Elkan's properties and the seizure of nearly 75 million euros in assets, while the Elkan siblings paid a massive civil settlement of around 183 million euros to Italian tax authorities in 2025. The criminal case is still active. In a major setback for John, a judge in February 2026 rejected his request to settle the criminal case with community service, which means he still faces the risk of a trial. All this legal turmoil has cast a dark shadow over John's leadership and the family's reputation. Now, this isn't just some messy family squabble. It's a governance crisis with billion-dollar consequences. John Elkann is the chairman and CEO of Exor, the holding company now valued at over $27 billion. He is also the chairman of both Stellantis and Ferrari. With its leader stuck in lawsuits filed by his own mother and under criminal investigation, the empire is facing a serious leadership vacuum. The timing could not be worse. Stellantis, the parent company of brands like Jeep, Ram, and Fiat, is trying to navigate the brutally competitive shift to electric vehicles. Ferrari, the crown jewel, relies on a perfect image of luxury and stability to justify its astronomical valuation. The Agnelli family feud threatens to destabilize both. The days when the family was untouchable are long gone. The bitter infighting has exposed their vulnerabilities, and the corporate titans they control are now caught in the crossfire. The story of the Agnelli dynasty is a profound lesson in the limits of power. Gianni Agnelli spent his entire life building a fortress of governance to protect his family's empire from fate. He created a structure designed to last for centuries, only to see it fractured by the very human emotions he tried so hard to control: grief, resentment, and a thirst for revenge. His masterful architecture preserved the family's capital, but it couldn't preserve its peace. Today, the war rages on. Mother and son remain locked in a legal battle with no end in sight, leaving the future of one of the world's greatest industrial dynasties hanging in the balance. It really begs the question, what is the true price of a dynasty? And has the immense wealth of the Agnellis brought them more power or more pain? Let us know what you think in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories about the world's most powerful families.